Hello,
How are you?
how are you?
I'm okay. Good to see you.
I know it's been a while, right?
No, I know what we're saying. It was BAMMA.
Yeah,
BAMMA seen each
yeah.
other.
A long time. It feels like a lifetime ago, Kane.
Time flies though. Time flies. But I see you working. I see you working. I'm
Yeah,
rather hope everything. I like what you're doing. I see you still stay in tune with the fighting, passionate about it. That's what we like.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm on that. I'm on that hustle, as you like to say.
You already know what time it is anyway. I don't even have to get you have to grind and that's all.
But I was delighted when you said you'd come on for a chat because you're one of the few people that I do know that I've known since back in that day, the BAMMA days, but also that's still in the game and still, as you say, hustling, still on the grind, still doing your thing, and you're flying it.
Well, obviously, we connected from way back from before. Where at that time, we'll say we had a bit of a name when we were fighting in Dublin. I fought Miles Price on that event, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a long road. It's been a tough road, and we just had to stay consistent. I'm still competing. I'm competing at a higher level than what I was when you met me there. So it shows elevation within
Hmm.
the sport and within my career. We've had some ups and downs throughout the career, and we're still on the strong end of it. We've got a good few years in us yet. We're signed to a solid promotion, which is obviously Bellator, one of the biggest in the world. And yeah, we're on it, man. We're training hard. I'm focused. I'm dedicated. Nothing hasn't changed. If anything, I've just evolved into a better version than what the person that you met back them days.
Absolutely. I mean, there's definitely been progression from all aspects, not only as you as a fighter, but as you as a person as well. There's been so much that's happened since then. But one thing that always struck me when I did meet you back in those days was your drive, and you always had like a belief, not a cockiness, but a self belief of what you were going to achieve and what you were capable of. Is that something that you've always had? Is that just you? Have you had that since you were young?
You know what? If I'm being honest, I'd say from when I was young, I've always had the belief that I was meant to do something good, yeah, something great, whatever it was. I've always maintained that, and I've always knew from when I was younger. When I see my friends, even this day and age, my friends are not necessarily surprised, but obviously people are proud, but people are not surprised because I've always been ambitious, motivated, and driven. When I was younger, it wasn't necessarily at the time like, oh, I'm going to achieve. It was just I always wanted to do, whether it was at that time it was sports in school, so I always wanted
Mm.
to play sports. I was always active, and I feel like as I've grown and started to understand the world more and start to understand what it is that we're actually put on this earth to do, which is to be good people, to be
Mhm.
successful role models. And as soon as I started understanding that that's what we were judged on and that's what was classed as success, I just never took my eye off the prize. And I've never once, even once, even though believe me when I say I've had so many knockbacks, not even in the fight game, in life, forget about everything that's happened previously when I was younger and when I was involved in all the madness when I was a youngster. I just mean even when I've developed, in my professional career, when I started as a manager for Pure Gym, when I was, I got knocked back 3 times before I got that job interview. I've been beaten at the highest level when I was supposed to make big moves by, Mark. I've had a loss against Rob White for the
Mhm.
decision, and I've never once lost the belief that regardless of what, whether it's through fighting, whether it's through clothing, whether it's through whatever it is, I'm going to make a statement and I'm going to let people know that I was here, I existed, and I did everything I could within my power to be as successful as I can.
Absolutely. And the insight that you have and the insight that you just spoke on there about, you know, um, I suppose finding your purpose or having a purpose and being here to do good and to work hard in different things. It's all, every time I've watched you in interviews, I've always found it really very interesting, the way that your insight, I suppose. And
Yeah.
as you speak about, where you've come from, maybe you got into things when you were younger, it happens, it's very common. And then you changed your life around and look where you are now. So now in
Uh-huh.
hindsight, when you look back on that, do you feel that in some kind of way you were meant to go through that to bring you to a better place, to bring you to where you are now?
100%. That's, for me, it's kind of, I just accept. So, people say, oh, would you have changed, going to prison, or would you have? I said, look, not at all, because without my hardship, how can I be somebody that people can look at for inspiration and understand that this man has been through it all? This man's been in prison. This man's lost friends. He's lost relatives. He's lost his freedom. He's had no money. He's been down in the dumps, and he's been able to build himself up. Whether it's been his brand, whether it's been his fight career, he's been able to turn that whole situation on his head. And I just believe that there's nobody out there. Everyone's circumstances are different, right? Okay, I've been blessed in a way where I've never had a father, but I've always
Mm.
had a strong mother who's made sure that I've had everything that I needed. Not that I wanted, that I needed, which was a house over my head, clean clothes, and love. I've been
Mm-hmm.
blessed to have that, because not everybody has that. So in that aspect, I'm blessed, and I'm full. Yeah. But from having no father, from, being on the streets, from looking up to the wrong people at certain times as role models, from being led down the wrong road, from going prison, from having all these hardships, I've seen a lot and I've felt a lot. So I know that there's nothing that nobody can tell me in that respect that I can relate to 90% of everything that people are going through.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that I can, that that from my story, my past, you can take inspiration from that, definitely.
Do you feel inspiration is definitely a word I would use there, but do you feel now that you've come out the other side of it that there is almost like a responsibility for you to speak out about this? Because it's very easy for me to sit here and to ask you about it but it's your life, you know what I mean? And there's aspects of my life that I wouldn't want to talk about, so I always find it very admirable for when people have gone through hardship in their lives that they're so open and they want to speak about it and to guide or to help other people.
Well, like I said, I feel like, when I was younger, I had no dad. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
was always yearning for guidance of older males, of my peers, and I feel like I was always yearning for a male role model in my life. Don't get me wrong, I had my uncle at the time, and I love him dearly for everything he's done for me in my fight career, and making me realize. But that was later on in my life. I mean, from young, I've always been someone who was always yearning for a role model to look at consistently, and I feel like I know exactly what it's like not to have somebody to give me the correct guidance, the
Mm-hmm.
correct information, which is that you can achieve greatness from a legal perspective, from building yourself, whatever it is, whatever your goals are, your aspirations. It's not going to be easy, it's going to be hard, but believe me, you can do it. And I'm someone who's putting myself out there every day, showing everybody. I said to someone messaged me today, and they were like, oh, Kane, can you give us a little bit more detail in certain things? I said, just ask me a question, I'll give you an answer. One thing
Mm-hmm.
I might, at this present moment, one thing people can rely on me for is energy. You're always going to get me getting up in the morning and grafting my ass off. You know what I do? I have my clothing brand, I have my children, I have my family, and I have my fight career. Them things, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to get up every single day and I'm going to graft my ass off to make sure I give everything to them aspects in my life. And that's just how I'm going to be till the day I'm not here. So that's what people can get from me, and I do feel it's an obligation of myself based on what I felt as a youngster, knowing what
Mm.
I was in, that I feel obligated to be that person, because I know what it feels like not to have someone there. So I feel obligated, and I'm not that obligated like it's a stress. I actually enjoy it. I actually get
Yeah.
satisfaction out of it. That's me taking something from everybody. Don't get me wrong. I'm taking, when people say to me, oh, Kane, I get a kick out of it. I'm like, oh, come on, let's go harder, Kane. When I'm tired, I'm like, let's get the fuck up. Let's go. Let's get some more
Mm-hmm.
work in. Let's show everybody what you're doing. And I was saying it to someone, you can just rely on me to do that for you, man.
Well, listen, I'm pumped. I'm
Good.
ready to go out. I'm ready to go out and do a run now after this.
You
I'm on
ready to
my way.
go?
I'm going.
That's
Well, listen, at what point did fighting come into it, or the kind of, I suppose, the martial arts end of it? What point was it for you? I know your uncle Tony obviously is a massive influence, as you said, and is such a highly esteemed coach as it stands. But would it have been him? Was it him that brought you down to the gym?
Yeah, well, obviously for me, it was kind of, it was more at the time when I did it. It was from a self defense perspective as
Mm.
well, being involved in what I was involved in. I knew that the streets were very dangerous. I knew that unless you could look after yourself, I'd been bullied when I was young. I'd been beaten up by older guys. I've been beaten up by guys that were our rivals at times. And, you know, for me, I realized that unless you can deal with these and you can stand strong with these two on your own, because not every time you've got something like a weapon to defend yourself, sometimes it comes down to the bare knuckles, especially when you go to prison. When I was younger and first time I experienced prison, I thought, wow, I've seen guys getting beaten down with just these. And that's what made me realize that, no, Kane, you need to make sure, not that I've always been willing to fight, but how good can you
Mm-hmm.
fight? Because if someone can fight better than you in that exchange, you know, it might be a life or death situation where you have to defend yourself. And I've always wanted to be able to defend myself against anyone. And it just ended up leading me into the situation of, you know, coming to my uncle Anthony and saying, look, I want to start fighting. And, you know, we excelled in the sport, in training in the gym. When we went to, from Moss Side Ground and Pound, we went to Wolf Slayer with Michael Bisbin and Rampage Jackson and Paul Kelly. And I excelled in the gym. And, you know, I was touted as a hot prospect at the time. And that's just where it went. It was something that started from a self-defense perspective. My uncle's always been a martial artist. He's a fifth dan in his discipline, and he took me under his wing and showed me how to actually, you know, be the fighter that I am today. So yeah, that's how it started.
Would you say that you're naturally competitive?
Yeah, I've been like that from school. I've always been competitive. I've always been somebody who might throw myself in at the deep end just because I'll test myself. I'll say, I'll beat you in a race. I might not even think, I might not deep down, but I'll still try. I might just be
Mm.
blagging myself that I can do it. And I'll get in there and I'll give it a go. And I just feel like competition, that's what, you know, and it's not to take off from what the topic, but that's where the brand comes in, BADR. Because
Yeah.
with BADR, it's about being a dangerous rival. And the brand represents a competitive mindset. It's not about fighting. We all fight in life. We all fight every single day. You are competing against whoever else is in your field of interviewing. You want to be the
Mm.
best interviewer. Well, if not, why are we doing it? We want to be the best. We want to be known as someone who's the best. And if not the best, then we want to be a dangerous rival where people think, oof, you know, she's doing the interview with Kane. I need to make sure I'm on point because she's good. There you're a dangerous rival, and that's what the brand represents. Maintain a competitive mind state. Don't let it affect your friendship relationships. But when you're coming into a working environment, yeah, or something that you want, then you need to fight for that. And that's what the brand
Mm.
represents.
I absolutely 100% hear you when you say that, and it's comforting to know that other people feel the same way, because I think sometimes, you know, that competitive edge, I know with me, it can certainly get a little bit too much where I'm unable to switch off, or, you know, it can take over a little bit. So from your own perspective, I mean, do you think that is too much of that too much? Do you have to have a balance? Do you have to be able to go through your life and know when to kind of tone it down or to ramp it up?
Yeah, and that's a skill in itself. That's a skill in itself. I'm somebody where, especially in the gym, I can come in the gym and I can spar with somebody. And if I know that I might be a bit tight in my hips, I've not stretched, I'm not that fit.
Mm.
When I get into a wrestle, scramble exchange, I won't go crazy. I'll let the person win. Because what I understand is that right now, for me, if I allow my competitive ego to step in, I could end up injured. So what it means is being
Yeah.
able to be aware when to put your competitive spike up and when to balance it and bring it down, because too much of a competitive spike in that department, for instance, could end up with me pulling or getting an injury, which means I'm out for a fight, and that means that I'm not using my brain when it comes to my competitive spirit. But when I'm good and I'm fit and I'm ready, and then I'll give it 150%, and I'll be competitive. Or if I'm sparring against somebody and I know that, you know what, they're not as good as me, the skill set might not be as good, but they're trying hard. And they land a couple heavy shots, I'll just still take it easy with them, depending
Mm-hmm.
on the personality. If I just know they're just being competitive and they're trying to have a go, I'm still gonna tone it and not try and. But if I know they're trying to take me out, then it's a totally different game. Then I'll put it on them. So yeah, being able to balance your competitive energy is a skill within itself, I believe.
I hear you on that. In terms of, your fight career, you're one of the few fighters that have had the luxury of being on a lot of different promotions, and you've scaled it as you've gone along. Obviously, as we're saying, we started out obviously the regional shows, your BAMMAs, and all the way up to ACB and now Bellator. What's the one thing or the most noticeable thing that you've seen in terms of the difference between all those promotions? Are they all the same? Do you feel the difference, or what would you kind of categorize them in?
Hats off to look, the three main shows. Let's start off with FCC. Great local
Hmm.
show. Adam Tay and the guys over there run a good show, and then obviously you move up to BAMMA. There was professionalism. That's when I seen my first level of high level professionalism. ACB was run at a good level, which was a good organization. They looked after the fighters, especially with the fight purses. And then obviously we step over to Bellator, which is just a totally different entity within itself. It's the highest level of organization and professionalism I've ever competed in.
Hmm.
As an establishment and as a company, the way they look after the fighters is just at the highest level I've ever felt. So, it has been a level of escalation, and I'll say at Bellator, I'm at a good place, I'm at a good home, and they treat us well there.
Absolutely. And in terms of, goals within the promotion, do you
And
have them set for yourself? What are we hoping to achieve in the next year?
well, obviously, look, if we're being realistic within this year, well, I'll be happy to get a fight.
Mm.
There's the potential of that. I'm not going to say too much. There's potential. Hopefully, fingers crossed, there's a potential of a fight at the end of the year. And then obviously we get this year out of the way, get a win at the end of this year, get back to winning ways, which we're used to. And then obviously next year we ramp up, hopefully get 2 wins, be at the beginning and mid end, and then start looking at getting myself into the top ranks start trying to aim for some form of title contention back end, if not the year after, and then finish back end of the career getting that title, aiming for that Bellator lightweight title, getting my hands on that belt, and putting a cap on the career and defending it once or twice and saying, yeah, man, we did the job. And for me, that's what the goal is. That's what the vision is. That's however I get there is going to be another story, because it's not easy. It's easier said than done. But that's what the goal is, and I believe I can do it with the
Hmm.
same type of thought process. We've got a solid gym, a solid team, and we're working well at the moment. So yeah, the sky's the limit within the promotion itself.
Sure is. I mean, you've been in the sport for so long. You could essentially say you grew up in the sport. You know what I mean? What's without making you seem like you're really old,
I
Kane.
I'm looking all right, so I'll take it. I'm holding up all right. I've not really got no broke. I'm not going to speak too
You're
soon about.
fresh.
I'm not going to speak too about the broken noses or anything like that, because you never know what can happen in this game.
But in terms of the sport as a whole, what are some of the biggest changes that you've noticed?
Just the whole awareness. Hats off to Conor McGregor.
Mm.
Hats off to Conor. He came into the sport and he did amazing things within the sport. I'm not taking anything away from your John Joneses, from your Anderson Silvas, your George St. Pierre's, all the top champions, all the historic champions that I take my hat off to. But I'd say when you're saying when did I feel a shift in the sport is when Conor came in and started
Yeah,
kicking up a fuss and started creating a whirlwind. And then off the back of that, there was a lot more awareness for the sport, a lot more scope for fighters, and that's when I felt the change. And I feel like right now MMA has come from the bottom, and it's starting to be one of the, if not the top sport, especially combat sports. It's up there with it. So the sport's doing really well, man. I'm proud to be a part of it.
sure is. What does greatness mean to you?
Ooh, ooh, that's a great question. I just believe that greatness is being somebody who can leave a stamp on the world,
Mm-hmm.
leave leave a strong, positive reflection from people on who you was as a person, having some impact. So greatness for me is, can I be that person where people say, you know what, Kane helped me change my life.
Mm-hmm.
Kane helped me do this. Kane helped me um, um, be a better version of myself from other people. Within myself, and what I want from myself is to be able to provide a solid support and future for my family. I
Mm-hmm.
want to be a person within my family that, you know, put something in place that none of my family had to struggle, and that my children can have everything that they need, not what they want, what they need. And my family doesn't have to struggle for any form of financial thingy. For me, that's greatness. That's greatness within itself. And then off the back of that, you have, you know, recognition, however wide it goes, whether it's national, whether it's world, having recognition as somebody that has worked hard to achieve, you know, great things.
That's a great analogy, great answer on it.
Thank you.
Let's talk about batter, because that's
Yes.
super exciting, and I love the fact
Woo!
that woo, I love the I
Wait
love
one
the
second.
fact that
If you have not shared this this live right now, everybody who's watching, because I can see you, share this live right now. I want to see them numbers going up. Yeah, we're here for engagement. We're here for support and to show and inspire everybody. Share this live right now. We're talking about battle sport. Let's get it up. Let's go. So
yeah,
what is it you want to know?
let's do
I
this.
can talk for
Well,
all day. Let's go.
now you're excited. But
Yeah.
one of the standouts, or one of the standouts that stands out with you, is how you managed to capitalize on the success that you've had off of the back of your MMA career, of your fighting career, and you're now establishing yourself not only as a businessman, but you're creating this sort of. It almost seems from an outsider standpoint like it's a community, and
Uh-huh.
through that you are spreading not only great clothing but also a
Uh-huh.
very important message, and community, I feel, is what we're here for. Do you know what I mean? So it's a very admirable. I could be wrong. I could be
No,
wrong, but
no,
that's
no.
my perception of it. That's my perception of it all.
So for me, if I'm being brutally honest, I get excited when someone like yourself we have been able, the message that I've been trying to get out, the message that I want to share with people is that we are a community, we
Yeah.
are a team, we are the Badder team represents the fight and struggle of life that we all go through. We all have our ups, we all have our downs, we all have the good days, we have our down days, we have, we have good events, we have bad events that happen in our life. I believe that as a team, as those who believe in the message that I'm putting out, is that we have to fight through life. We have to understand that life is great, life is amazing, but life is tough, life is not easy. And as long as we accept and understand and work hard to chase our dreams and aim for the stars, we aim for the stars even if we get halfway to the stars. Look how far we've got. And my
Mm.
thing is that the message of the brand is strength. The message of the brand is power of the mind. And that is what I want everybody who wears Badr to feel. And that is a representation. And I feel like over the past 3 years, we've been able to get that message across to everybody. People have people have bought into the brand. People have bought into myself. I try as much as I can with an authentic message to be myself. Obviously, I ramp it up. I'm a fighter. I'm a showman. And that comes across sometimes, and I can't help it. And I make no apologies for that. But I ramp it up. But it's all authentic. It's all sincere. And I hope in the future I can. Well, I know in the future, not hope. I know in the future. Now I know in the future we will do something within our community to give back to the community. We will have any celebrity endorsements from our friends, from people that love the brand, that I can get down to do events, to give motivational chats. It falls under, you know, the movement that's happening right now. I see Marcus Rashford shouting about giving back to the kids and making sure people don't go hungry. And I believe that hunger can, for myself, how can I help feed younger generation or people, which is give them my time. You know, I feel like as a brand down the line, I want to be able to drop in on workshops for kids where they might aspire to be clothing. They might want their own clothing brand. I feel like I want to be able to go in, sit down with these kids, you know, ask them what, you know, look at their brand, find out what it is that it might not be brand, it might be fighting, whatever it is. I want to drop in on workshops, but I don't just want to do it once. I want to keep a consistent run. It might be every quarter I turn up to one spot, I go and help them, and then I give them a kind of, they have to be answerable to themselves and to me, and come back and be like, right, where you set yourself that goal when I came last time, where are we up to now? And give them that courage, and you know, that to encourage them to work hard. And that's where I want to take it, besides making great urban, street and sportswear clothing of the baddest and highest quality, with the highest level fabrics and fit, with the quality detailing, yeah, and all of that. Besides that, that's what we want. That's what we're here to create, and it's not something that's going to be overnight. And we're only a start. We've been going for 3 years, and we're live in Foot Asylum tomorrow. We are live in Foot Asylum stores tomorrow. Manchester, Arndale, Trafford Centre, Birmingham Fort, Birmingham Bullring, London Stratford. Make sure you get down there. And it's kind of like, people don't understand the struggle that me and my business partner have been through to get this brand where it is. It's been, when I say to you, it's been a tough road. When I say to you, we've had so many knockbacks. We've had so many doors closed on us. No, don't have Badr in your store. No, don't have Badr here. No, don't have it here. And we've been sat there at the table, and, you know, we've had to look each other in the eyes and say, it's a lot harder than what we thought. But one thing that never, ever, ever let go of is the belief. Belief that our brand represents more than just clothing. When something has such a powerful message, it can only do one thing, which is rise up and keep going all the way. So, you know, world domination is where we're aiming for with this brand. And I believe that, and I don't ever see no limitations with this brand. The brand's been bought in. So many people now have sat down around the table, and the conversations that we're having are amazing. The amount of people bought into the brand and what the brand represents and the style and everything. We have now landed. We are officially here. It's been 3 years of consistent work, grind, ups, downs, knockbacks to get to this point. And I can finally say we're at the starting point. We're now officially at the real starting point. So the hard work starts now, and everybody's support is.
I love, well, round of applause. That was fantastic. I'm sold on it. I'm sold on it for 2 reasons. One, as we said, it looks great, right? It does look great. But also, I love supporting anything, any business, any product that has come from a place of passion, that's come from a place where, you know, where people are working hard, and that this is their dream and their goal, and they just want to get it out there. Of course you want to support that. Why wouldn't you support that, right?
Everybody sees me. I support everyone, whether it's a small business. All I always say, because of me as a credential source as a solid source of reliability. So if I stand on something, whether it's food, it could be a food place that makes food. I'm going to go in there. Loads of people say, Kane, come down and get some food off us. I'll go in, I'll eat it, and I think, it's all right. I'm not really going to shout about it, to be fair with you, because if I shout about it, then my people who are watching me, they're going to go and spend their money. They're going to bite into that food and think, fucking hell, Kane, that was shite. So I'm not on that. I believe on anyone that's doing hard. I'll give people advice. If I go and eat that food, I'll say, no, bro, you know what? You need to work on this, 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 and this. And if I come back and I like it, boom, yep, let's support it, let's support it, let's support it. I believe we need to work hard to bring solid product to the market. And I believe that we shouldn't just be supported straight away just off the back of, oh well, I'm just trying anything to get it going. No, like you said, the passion. Let your passion
Mm.
see. Let me see that you're passionate about it. Let me see that you're trying, and I will stand on it, and I will support you as much as I can within the realms of it being realistic.
Absolutely. So as I said, it's launched tomorrow in Asylum
Foot asylum.
Footwear.
Foot,
Foot
foot
Asylum, sorry. We don't
asylum.
have a
Hey,
foot asylum in Ireland.
I
We
know,
need to
but don't
sort that
worry
out.
about it. Soon be one over there. If not, after Banner starts kicking off, we're gonna be flying all over the place. So so no, we're live. We're live in Foot Asylum tomorrow, and I'm saying for everybody who's in this live, I hope that you've grabbed something from this live. Where this is real, authentic talk. This is the real deal. This is the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
And if everybody can get down, support the brand, go in store, take some pictures, share it about, I would really appreciate that.
Absolutely. And you know what? A very interesting point that you mentioned there while you were talking, and that is the hard work starts now. And
Of
that is
course.
the true mindset of somebody who has no option but to be successful. Because it's when you get to the levels, then you're like, now the hard work starts. Like you bust your balls for so many years to get to a point where you can start working hard. Right?
Like you bang on. But what you got to understand is, right, check this. This is why I explain to people about frequency, right? And open mind. Me and you, and there's not just me and you, there is a lot of like-minded people that are starting to become aware that it's a frequency of understanding, right? Right now, we are at the starting point. We've busted our balls to get to this point. And if you think for 1 second, I think I've made it, then you're wrong, because I'm
Mm.
nowhere. We are about to absolutely put our foot on the gas pedal. We're not leaving no stone unturned. We're bringing out the women's range, sportswear, tracksuits. We're bringing more hats to the table. We're bringing back the vests. We're bringing the coats to the table. We are expanding the range to another level. I've had women contacting me from the day.1 to this day, and I feel like by me saying it's coming soon, if I have to say, ladies, it's coming soon one more time, I think I'm off Instagram altogether. But I can actually say we are in the process of bringing ladies active wear. You've got bad boy pieces, sports bra, vest, tracksuits. You got the badder, you got the small, but you got everything. We're not messing about. So if there's a brand to believe in and a brand to support, believe me, we are that brand.
I can vouch for it. Get out there tomorrow and support 100%. While we were
Right?
talking, everyone has the opportunity to send in some questions. So I'm going to have a
Okay,
look at the question box now and see what everyone wants to ask you.
no
Your
problem.
picture has gone a little bit muddled, Kane. Are you on Wi-Fi or data?
I've got solid 4G, but is it still blurred there?
No, it's perfect now. It's perfect now. I lost you there for a second, but you're back. Let's
Okay.
have a look. Um, okay, so lots of people commenting on Batter saying can't wait to pick up some stuff. Great range, so that's good. That's promising. Um, Shania Quinn, 23, has asked who inspired you growing up? Who did you take the most inspiration from?
It's hard to say. For me, it's kind of I, I looked up to my mum, right? And this is
Mm,
a bit. This is one of them where people might say, "Well, your mum." I just looked up to how hard she worked to look after me and my sister consistently. She's up every
mm,
morning. She's cleaning the house. She's going to work. She's going this, and I thought, right, you know what? That work rate, whether what it is, that work rate is what I need to implement in my life. So from that, there's been different stages of inspiration, So my mum's my first stage, and then second on, you might say, going to my uncle, seeing him on the mantelpiece doing his sidekick when he had his long dreads. When he was younger, he had dreads and he was doing a sidekick. He used to always look up and think, "Wow, I want to be." And he was actually in the ring, sidekicking somebody in the chest, but he was holding it at a perfect angle. I thought, wow, that I need to be that. And then, down the line, we got the badder highlight shots where we're throwing him. So we got that. So my mum, my uncle, and then obviously in the fight game, it would have been, we're going to the gym training with Mike. If I'm being honest, Mike, Rampage Jackson, these were my inspirations within the fight game. And then obviously, then as I've developed, I look at other clothing designers. I like Philip Plein. He's an inspiration. So they're full of some of my. There's loads more. I've got so many inspirations. 50 Cent, Puff Daddy, all these other guys. Jay-Z, successful entrepreneurs and successful people. I've got a lot of them. So I
Great
can't just.
stuff. Okay. You've taken another one here. Um, Derek Flynn has asked, you said you're a dad, you've got your own clothing line, and you're a fighter. People say it's not possible to do it all. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree that you can definitely put 150% in, and I believe that the fight game I'm fighting at a higher level than a lot of guys, and I'm competing at a higher level than a lot of guys, and I'm doing really well within the fight game. And my brand has just gone into one of the biggest retailers that's out there. So I'd say we're doing a good
Mm,
job, but understand that I have to sacrifice everything. I get up in the morning, I go and train. I go straight from training, I go to the office. From having the office, I might have my kids. I might spend time with my kids. I might even do some stretching or some more work at night, and then I go to sleep, and I repeat that every single day. So the answer is yes, as long as you're willing to sacrifice everything.
great answer. Um, Martin Quinn has asked, which fight of yours are you most proud of?
I'd say most proud will probably be Alex Enland.
Yeah.
Alex Enland at ACB. Alex Enland was the Cage Warriors featherweight champion. At the time when I fought him, he was the Cage Warriors featherweight champion. He was signed to the UFC. He actually went for a brain scan. He got his UFC debut. He went for a brain scan. His MRI showing up that he wasn't able to fight. So then we asked him for a fight. He took the fight with ourselves. Well, he had another win after that. We asked him for a fight. He took the fight with us, and then we beat him. So beating the Cage Warriors featherweight champion is probably the biggest win so far.
100%. Okay, let's take one more here. Loads of people commenting saying that they're a big fan and loads of different stuff.
Thank you all
Um, Following your career and stuff. So that's really, really good.
very much.
Um, uh, uh, Amy O'Loughlin, I think the name is.
Lachlan.
You meant Lachlan. She said you've mentioned your uncle.
Yes.
But can you talk to us about the relationship with Brendan Loughnane?
Okay. Well, obviously, Brendan's been someone who I've started fighting with from when we were young. I mean, like, you're talking, I started fighting first, and then Brendan came to the gym not long after me, and then he just started training. I remember I had my first pro fight. Brendan came down to that one, and then after that, he had his first amateur, I think it was, and he went in and he just blitzed the kid, and from there, we just continued training. I introduced him to my uncle Anthony. Obviously, I went prison a bit after that, and them two maintained their relationship. And obviously, I used to speak to Brendan whilst I was away, and he used to tell me everything he was doing within the sport. I was just ironing everybody out. He was winning. He was on a roll, and he was my motivation, my inspiration whilst I was in. And I told him, when I get out, we'll do this big. And lo and behold, when I got out, we partnered up, started training, and we ran through all the ranks. And he's where he is now, and I'm where I am now. So
Mm.
yeah,
It's brilliant. I always love to see it as well with, like, people who are genuinely friends that,
yeah.
not that go and achieve things together. It's like it's so typical of that statement, you are the one of the five people you surround yourself with. When you surround yourself with people who are on the same mission as you
Mm.
can't not but achieve, right?
Achieve, and this is why I struggle to put myself in situations with people who are not willing to think out of the box. Now, if I go
Mm.
in a room with people who might look up to me for inspiration or a bit of guidance, as long as everybody's sitting and absorbing information and willing to go, I don't care what level they're at to a degree of how much time. But if I go around certain energies and it's like, oh, nah, straight away you drain my energy. I need to go out of here because I can go to another table of people where it's like, right, Kane, we've got this going on, we've got this going on. And that is the level of energy you need to put yourself around, because like you said, you are the people that you're around. And my career, my fight career, my business is because of the people that I've surrounded myself with.
Amen to that. Okay, let's take, they're flying in here, so let's just take one more here. T. Official has asked, do you think the fact that you live in Manchester and not London affects your career?
Not really. I'd say that Manchester gets good scope. I feel like Manchester are very authentic. We are the raw products. We're the Northerners. We're solid, and I believe that we have a lot of character. And I believe that it's down to the person himself. If you make enough noise and you do the right things, then it doesn't matter. You look at Tyson Fury. Where's he from? You look at Ricky Hatton. Where's he from? You look at it's down to the person. And don't get me wrong. I've had a lot of ups and downs in my career. I could have been a lot further than what I am, but like, I accept everything that happens in my life happens for a reason. What was written for me was written for me. What was written for him was written for him. I can't gauge my life, my success on what somebody else has done, because if that's the case, I could be chasing and be upset with how far I've come even to this point. So Manchester is the home of the great.
It is, and I tell you what, I potentially could be making a move to Manchester at the end of the year, so I'll vouch for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to sell my city now, even though I am a little bit. What I'm saying to you is Manchester is on the rise at the moment. The influx of people and the amount of creatives that are around at this present moment, it's at all-time high. So if there is anywhere that people want to get themselves down to, get down to Manchester, come and link up with the gang, and who knows?
Yes, absolutely. Right. Very last question. I know you're a busy man. I'll let you go, right? There's one more, and it's very good, and I think you might like it. But it's from Shay Smith.
Okay. Sorry.
Is someone ringing you?
Yeah,
Get them off the line. But it's from Shay Smith, and he's asked, I find you inspirational. I've also been in prison, but I deal with having a lot of shame from that time. How did you overcome your past?
I owned it. I understand that we cannot be judged on our past as long as we are willing to make a change. From when we are willing to make a change and we are sincere with that mission and we are sincere with that statement, people around will understand. People will start to take you. But listen, actions speak louder than words. Put action in place. Start showing people with your actions. It's all good me saying, oh, I've just got out, but I want to do, and then I'm sat around the same old situation I was in before. Then you might have to hold a little shame for the situation of no progression. Understand that as long as you're working to change yourself, the general understanding, I see it everywhere. People can't be judged on the past. It's the present what people can judge you on. So
absolutely,
don't feel ashamed. Yeah.
All part of the journey, all part of an interesting story, isn't that it?
Right.
What matters is that you look back at that time and see for what it is, right?
I say this, yeah. If I had not been through everything I've been through, where was the lessons, and what could people ask me that I'd have no answers for nobody.
Yes.
And there you go. So embrace who you are, embrace your struggles, learn from your struggles, set goals and targets for the future, maintain visualization. Visualize your end goal, your step-by-step goals, how you're going to get to that place. Work your ass off non-stop. Be ready for the ups, be ready for the downs, but as long as you maintain belief, it will come. That's my take on that.
What a note to leave our interview on. Fantastic. I tell you what, I know Badr is going to be fantastically successful. There's no question about that. But should anything ever happen, you've got a job in motivational speaking. That's for goddamn sure.
I appreciate that. No, and I'm honestly humbled by you getting on me here, man. And let's reconnect in the future. Let's see where we're at in a year's time. Come back and give the people a little bit more. Then, yeah.
Yes, 100%. And I genuinely mean it. I wish you all as much success as possible with Badr. It's a fantastic company and you're doing great things. So good
Oh,
luck tomorrow. Good
you've
luck
got me.
tomorrow.
Oh, remember, tomorrow we go, people. Let's get it. All right, signing out.
See you
Yeah.
later, Kane. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Stay
Bye.
safe. See you
Bye. Bye.
later.